You don't have to spend a fortune to make your home feel beautiful this summer. Today, I am sharing 10 DIY summer home decor ideas using budget friendly supplies that create beautiful high end pieces your family and friends won't believe are handmade. Hi, I'm Loli. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. Go ahead and use this chalk that I got last year from the Dollar General. I did not use it for the whole year, even though I was excited when I got it. I got it for half off. It was $5. It usually is $10. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this foam from the Dollar Tree, this floral foam, cut off a piece, and we are going to go ahead and glue it onto the bed of the truck. But I want to first cover this up with a little bit of that moss there. They call it lyconium or something like that. I like how natural and how nice and vibrant green it is. First time using it, it was a little bit tougher than the regular ones are, but I really like using it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to my foam in the places where the foam will be showing through the slats of the truck there. And I'm going to just cover those sides. I'm gonna cover 3 of the sides, just, that part around the truck that we'll see on the sides there. This moss was very thick. It was kind of hard to pull apart. It came in bigger pieces, like it almost looks like fern pieces. And I just took a whole piece like that came in, together, and I'm just gluing it right onto the side as well. Right there, it's already pretty solid, so it will cover the foam nicely. And I did that in all 3 sides. Then I came in and trimmed off any excess to the same level of where the floral foam was in order to allow this to lay flat onto the bed of the truck. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, please give me a thumbs up, like, share, and if you're inclined to do so, go ahead and subscribe. It is all free and it means the world to me. Here you can see how I was struggling a little bit with this, trying to break it apart. The little pieces are really hard. I don't know exactly what kind of material. If you use this before, let me know in the comments. It's my first time. It caught my attention at Dollar Tree because of the vibrancy of the green and the different shades of green it also has. But I have not seen it before. I think it's new to Dollar Tree. If you've seen it before or work with it, let me know, okay? Let me know what is the best way to work with this as well. I like though the way that it clumped together like that, so I didn't have to worry about small little spaces peeking through. I didn't want to put any on the top part of the moss where I was going to stick my florals in a little while, because I was not sure if I'm going to be able to go through how thick this moss was. So I'm just going to go ahead and just leave that part open like that, and I'm going to add moss to the other areas that are open and just sticking it in between. I really should have left the back portion alone and then put it in like this, but I wanted to make sure I had enough room. So now I'm going to come in with some of this foliage from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces and just, place them in different areas of the bed of the truck, just separating them, just looking at it and seeing how I like it. No really rhyme or reason, just going ahead and adding them as I go. And I don't know, just creating something before my eyes. This foliage has been in my stash for a while, so it's kind of wrinkly. So I'm just using my heat gun to relax the leaves so they will come back to their former glory, and then you see them all nice and neat again. This is a nice, easy way to bring your things back to where they were before. It works in the same manner as when you steam a piece of clothing to remove your wrinkles. So here I'm going to go ahead and add one more piece here, just trying to figure out how to space them out. I space them out. I put them almost like in each corner of my foam, leaving some space in between because I do want to come in with some florals as well. Once I was satisfied from where all the greenery was, now I'm going to come in with some of these flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut the individual petals or individual stems and place them in between the greenery, just trying to make it as uniform as possible and as full as possible. My friends, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have had so much good things happen to me this week.
I got this month, I should say, I got to my 1,000 subscribers. I got to my 4,000 watch hours. I'm now part of the YouTube Partner Program, and all of this is due to you, to all your support, all of your help, just all of your time just watching my videos, and all of the encouragement as well with all the beautiful comments and kindness that you guys have showed me ever since I started my channel. I am so grateful for each one of you. I am beyond, I don't even know what to say, guys. Thank you so much. I am trying to figure out when to do a giveaway. I would like to do a giveaway. I'm thinking probably it's going to be next month for May, just to celebrate this amazing milestone and just to show you guys some appreciation, because I am so thankful for each one of you. And guys, I'm done with this guide. Look how cute that is. Let me know how you like it. I love it. I never seen this combination of florals before. I am in love with this truck. Let me know what you think. For the next inspiration, I'm going to be using one of these round vases from Dollar Tree. What I'm going to do is remove that tag first of all using some heat, and then I'm going to clean it well with some glass cleaner from Dollar Tree. Once it's all nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and add some sand to it. To do this, I'm going to coat it with some Mod Podge. To do that, I thought it will be easiest to add some sand to a bowl, so I'm just able to roll that onto the base when I'm done adding Mod Podge. I'm working here in small sections, and I'm just going to roll it as you see there to coat it, and I kept doing that until the entire base was covered. Once the layer dried, I'm going to add some more Mod Podge over it, and I'm going to repeat the process about 2 to 3 times. Once it was all covered and dry, I'm going to add another layer of Mod Podge over it to seal the sand in and protect it as well. And while that dries, I'm going to take one of these foam balls that I got, I think at Walmart, I'm not sure. But we're going to take one of them, and we're going to go ahead and cover it with some reindeer moss. I picked this kind because I think it has the closest resemblance to some seaweed. What I did is cut it into small pieces, or break it apart in small pieces, add some hot glue to my ball, and add it on as you see right there, trying to work in small sections and trying to cover the entire ball as best as possible. But don't worry too much, we can always go back and cover up any little areas in which you can still see the foam. Once it was all fully covered, I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it to be able to expose that round shape once again. And using those little trimmings that we have, we are going to go ahead and cover up any holes that were left behind. I actually did pretty good. I didn't have to cover up any holes, so this is what it was looking like after I was done trimming. Now it's time for the challenge item. This is a paintbrush that I had for ages. Probably I got it in 1905 or something like that. You can see here how bad it is. It was all chippy. So you know what? This is going to be the sacrificial lamb for this project. So we're going to use this one. The bristles are fine, but the paintbrush, as you see, is not that great. So I'm going to paint it with some of this brown oxide from Apple Barrel, and I gave it a total of 2 coats. I left some of the chipped sections on there just so it would resemble the bark of a tree. Now I'm going to take some of this floral foam from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut a section off of it and glue it to the bottom of my vase. Now I'm going to take the paintbrush and stick it at the bottom section of the ball and create a hole with my glue gun at the center of the floral foam, and then I just stuck the paintbrush right in the middle. Then I wanted something to put at the top to serve as a base, so I don't have too much product going into the base. So I took this piece of construction paper that I had laying around, I folded it in half, and I'm going to cut a section that is big enough to cover the bottom section of the top of the floral foam there. I glued the 2 sides together as you see right there, making sure that it's nice and squared. And then I'm going to add hot glue to the edges as well. I'm just trying to create kind of the thickness of cardboard. Then I took it and folded it in half. And I took a vase from Dollar Tree and I'm going to place it over the folded edge as you see right there. I'm going to trace it using a pencil or pen, and we are going to create a circle using this technique. Then I created a slit right at the middle and only halfway through to leave it around here. I just wanted to see if this was big enough, but it wasn't, so I'm going to go ahead and create a tiny little opening at the center just so I can accommodate the dowel rod or the paintbrush in this sense. Here I'm putting it in, and this was overlapping a little bit too much. It was a bit big, but that's not a problem. We're going to take it off and trim it a little bit more along the edges until we have the perfect size. For best results, you should use the same base that you used to make this to have a more precise size on your opening. I didn't have one, so I just used the best thing that I had. The circle was still a little bit too big, but that's fine. I'm going to just go ahead and slide it underneath the opening of the vase, and the vase itself is going to keep it in place, and it's going to be nice and flat once I'm done. Now I'm going to take some of these gemstones that I got from Dollar Tree. They were a bit big, so I'm going to take a few of the smaller ones I can find. I'm going to put them inside of a Ziploc bag, and then I'm going outside with my hammer and smashing them until I get smaller pieces. Now I'm going to add some hot glue to the cardboard, or to the construction paper actually, here in small sections. Then I added the broken up pieces of sea glass onto it until it was all completely covered. I shaked off the excess, removed any loose pieces on there, remove any pieces that were uneven and unnecessarily on there as well until it was nice and flat. And I added in some pieces here and there where you can still see the hot glue. And that is it for this one. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Start our first project with this wood round that I found at Dollar Tree. We're going to go ahead and remove that cord, and I'm going to cover it with 2 coats of this white paint. Once it was nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and take this napkin that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and unfold it, put it nice and flat against the board. I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, and we are going to iron out those wrinkles. Then we're going to remove that off the board, and I'm going to take some Mod Podge and completely cover the front surface of the wood round. Then I'm going to just go ahead and set it aside and let it dry. Meanwhile, I'm going to use one of these rings that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove that tag and paint it with 1 coat of this maize color from Waverly. But it was not covering very well, so I painted it white. And then I'm going to come in with that maize color from Waverly and paint it one more time. But it was not quite the same color as the napkin that I was trying to add to this design, so I came in with that yellow from Dollar Tree, and this is the perfect color to match the napkin. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the board, but I'm going to remove that second layer of paper, and here I'm making sure to center everything so the pulp of the fruit is centered and I have equal parts of the white. Then I'm positioning some of that parchment paper, and I'm using my heat press to go ahead and reactivate the Mod Podge, adhering the napkin to the wood round. Now, using a file, I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess paper from all the edges. In this step, I'm making sure to go only in the downward motion to avoid any tearing of the napkin. Now, nice and easy, lemon squeezy, pun intended. Look how cute that's turning out. So I'm going to just take a skewer and go ahead and punch out the holes that the wood round had. And this is what it's looking like so far.
Now I'm going to take that cord that came with the wood round. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to the edge, and I'm going to just turn it around a couple times to create a nice stiff edge so I'm able to easily thread these beads to the hanger. I'm using these beads that came from a package during Easter, and I'm using one yellow, one green, and one white, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie this right back into my wood round, making sure to keep the knot towards the top. And then once I knot that piece, I'm going to go ahead and thread the edge or the tail into the bead to avoid having to cut it and making this look nice and seamless. As I'm attaching the other end of the cord, I'm making sure not to make it too tight so I have a nice play between the beads so I'm able to move them freely. But I'm also making sure that that knot is close to the board, and I add a little bit of hot glue to the end of the jute cord and tuck it right into the bead so it will be nice and seamless. Now it's time to attach the circle that we painted before. I'm going to use a combination of gel super glue and hot glue to do that, and I'm going to make sure that this round is nice and centered so I have the most equal amount of white in the borders of the orange. Now I'm going to embellish it with these sticks that I got from Dollar Tree last year. I'm just going to remove the tags, and I'm going to curve the stems as you see right there, and then attach it to the top section of the wood round using some hot glue. Now I'm taking some of this ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create a double loop bow. As you see there, I'm just zigzagging the ribbon in opposite directions until I end up with 2 loops on each side and a tail on each side as well. Then I'm going to just go ahead and scrunch it up in the middle, and I'm going to use a piece of the beaded garland that I got from Dollar Tree to tie the bow into place. Then I took some of this polka dotted ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I did the same thing with the 2 loops. And I was going to scrunch it in the middle and add it on top of the green bow and use the same piece of beaded garland to tie it in place. And I'm going to use the remainder of the beaded garland as tails to this bow. The one side of the beaded garland had only one little bit berries on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the excess of one side, and I'm going to use one of the beads that are at the end there, and I'm going to attach it to the other side of the beaded garland using some hot glue, and I'm just wrapping some of the tape over it as well. It just adds some symmetry to the bow. Now that I'm happy with the bow, I'm going to go ahead and just add some hot glue to the back and attach it at the center of the 2 picks. And I forgot to dovetail my ends, so I'm going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of each one at the ribbons as you see right here. I'm just going to go ahead and fold it in half and cut a triangle upwards, and I repeated this with all 4 of the tails of my bow. And it was missing a little something, so I'm going to take this package of words from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and use some gel super glue and some hot glue and attach the word welcome from this package to the middle of my wood round. And now we are done. Let me know what you think in the comments.
We're going to be using one of these little signs from the Dollar Tree and some of these stickers as well, and some of these stickers as well. This is going to be an easy one, guys. The first thing that I did was choose which one I wanted to use. So I'm going to be using this one that says Be Still, and these are just cardboard stickers from the Dollar Tree. I wanted this to fit a little bit flat onto the surface, so I'm removing that foam piece, and I'm going to just go ahead and try to figure out exactly where I want everything placed. So I decided to use this firm piece, and I'm going to just place it right there on the side where you see right there. I want these to be angled. I love that combination of the green and that off-white background, so I went with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out where to put this. So once I decided to put it in the top, I'm adding some spray glue to the back of my little Be Still word in there, and I'm going to put it in the top of my piece right there. This took a little bit to dry, but it held enough for me to continue with my project. For some reason, I had a hard time centering. Thank God this glue gave me plenty of time to figure it out. I didn't want to squish the top portion. If you see these 2 layers of paper, I just pressed down the bottom one. And now I'm going to use this other piece of greenery that I also came from the same pack. And I'm going to place it right there in the middle, just making sure everything is nice and flat. It adheres pretty well, actually. No need for extra. And then that little leaf on there. And you think I'm done? Have you met me? I'm not done yet. I'm going to go ahead and take some buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create a simple little bow, just, you know, making the awareness bow. I'm bringing it down and then tying it off with a piece of jute cord like I usually do. Once I finally tied that knot onto the bow, I'm gonna go ahead and trim off the excess jute cord, and I'm just gonna go ahead and dovetail my ends as well and make sure that everything is nice and level as far as the tails there go. I was happy with the length, so I'm just going to just cut it right there at the bare tip. I didn't want to make my tails any shorter than they already were. Do you guys see my helping hands on this side there? My son was crafting with me. He was doing his own little craft in his own little chair there. And here you see me gluing my bow right onto the corner, right there. I love it, guys. I picked this word because sometimes I gotta remind myself to just let God do his thing and be still. And here it is, guys. This is all done. What do you think? I love it. It's simple, yet so elegant. Here we go with the next inspiration. For this inspiration, I'm going to use one of these new vases from Dollar Tree. I love this shape, and I thought it would be perfect for this project. The first thing that I'm going to do is add some of these gems to the bottom of it. Then I'm going to take one of these candles from the Shore Living collection at Dollar Tree and add it on top of my gems. This is what it's looking like so far, but we're not going to stop there, right? I'm going to take some of this raphia that came from the hula skirt, and I'm going to pick out a section on the side right there. I'm going to tip it down to my table, and I'm going to begin to braid this into a large fluffy braid. And yes, I know, I braid backwards, but this is how I learned, and it comes out so cute. Once I got to the end of my braid, I'm going to take a piece of jute cord and then tie it off right there. But first I wanted to put aside 2 small pieces of raphia that I'm going to be using later on. So now here you see me wrapping that jute cord there. I'm going to make a nice double knot, nice and tight, and cut off the excess of the raphia. I took the pieces of raphia that I cut out earlier, and I'm going to use them to cover up the jute cord. And then I cut off the excess raphia. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. And here's the braid all completed. Now we are going to take that vase and we're going to loop this braid over it, as you see right there. And I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to attach it to the sides. Then I took some of this jute cord from Dollar Tree and I'm going to glue it there to the end of the raphia. And I'm going to wrap it all the way, I will not say all the way, like 3/4 of the way up the vase, covering the raphia as I go up. Friend, if you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to leave it a big thumbs up. And when I was done wrapping it, this is what it turned out like. Let me know what you think. I will be using one of these little houses from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove that little garland that it came with. I was being very careful not to burn those leaves. They were coming apart as I was using the heat, so I just yanked them off and then just added the heat to the glue and scraped it off using a spatula. And then here, using the same spatula, after I'm heating up the glue, I'm being very careful not to break it. I still managed to crack it, but no problem. I just use a little bit of hot glue and attach it back together, and it was good as new. I'm going to use some of this napkin to cover this, but I really felt like I needed to, make this a little bit wider so that napkin will pop. So I painted it with 2 coats of that white apple barrel paint. Then I'm going to cut off, actually no, then I'm going to Mod Podge the entire house with it. So I'm able to attach my napkins. That's what I did. Once that was drying, I'm cutting the piece of napkin that I'll be using to attach to the front of this little house. I removed that second layer of tissue off of it. And I'm doing this after the Mod Podge has already dried, so I don't have any wrinkles from it. And also making sure that I'm going far up enough that the entire front section of the house will be covered once I add my pieces of wood back to reposition my roof. Here I'm using some parchment paper and adding some heat to this to attach that napkin to that Mod Podge that's already added onto that wood. And I just did this until it was completely wrinkle free and there were no bubbles either or any of those little raised edges that sometimes the napkins has on the edges. And then using my emery board, I am sanding downwards on all of the edges to remove any excess napkin. Now it's time to go ahead and reattach those pieces of wood to the top of my house. I'm going to do that using some hot glue. Then I'm taking some of this ribbon that I got from Carolina Pottery, and I'm going to cut off a section that is big enough to go wrap around the back of this as well. And I'm going to add it to the center of my little house using some hot glue. I make sure to attach it to the back as well. And we are going to just create a bow and add it to the center. And this completes this beautiful DIY. Don't forget to let me know what you think about this one. I lie. I didn't like the roof and the brown color, so I came back in with some of this apple barrel white paint and I painted the roof. And that's all she wrote for this one. Don't forget to let me know what do you think. Today I'm going to be using one of these tins from the Dollar Tree and this greenery as well from the Dollar Tree. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to paint the bottom and some portion of the inside of the pot using some of this chalk paint or chalkboard paint from Dollar Tree. I gave it a total of 2 coats. I also painted a portion of the inside just in case this shows for the next part. This is how everything turned out. So now we are going to go ahead and use some of this foam from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just go ahead and glue it at the bottom, and then I'm going to take my greenery and we are going to trim it to size and take off the actually it was perfect the way it was, so I just stuck it right in the middle of the floral foam. Then I came in with some of this paper. I got this paper from I think shoes or something that I bought and I kept it for packing, so I'm just going to stuff that on my sides. This is just to avoid using extra product that doesn't need to get used, and making sure that everything on here is nice and even and it's a nice flat surface for the next part of this project. Then I took some of these rocks from the Dollar Tree, they're called gems instead, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them all on top of the paper. That's why I chose that white paper, so it will blend in properly if it was this show. But this covered it pretty nicely, and just arranging the stones for them to be nice and neat. And just like that, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and fluff up my flowers to make sure they're nice and open, so this looks nice and full. And that's pretty much it. I did have problems putting it straight, but there you go. I hope you enjoy it. Look at it. It is so cute, guys. It was so simple. It literally was what, 3 steps? It was amazing. Let me know if you like it. Use this cotton board that I got during the fall season at Dollar Tree, and I decided to remove that little bow from there. And for some reason I thought it would be a good idea to put my hand in front of that. Don't do that. I burned myself, as you can tell. Then I removed the excess glue that was remaining using my spatula. We're going to remove that cord from the top, and I'm going to paint that circle using some white chalk paint. And I decided to paint the whole thing eventually. Then I'm going to take that yellow color, maize color from Waverly, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the outside section of the cotton board. And then I decided it was a little bit too bland, so I'm coming in with this brighter yellow from Dollar Tree, and I'm just doing 2 coats of it on top of that yellow. And look how much brighter it is. Then I'm going to make it dry and add some Mod Podge to that white portion of the cotton board, and I'm going to let it dry. While that is drying, I'm going to take some of these napkins that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and unfold it, and I was disappointed. I was hoping that the whole thing was that solid blue square there. So here I went with plan B, and I'm using some water on a small paintbrush to go ahead and outline all the little flowers and lemons that I would like to add to the center here. And I just find that this is the easiest way to have, like, you know, an irregular border, and it's a little bit easier for you to do decoupage this way because the edges are a little bit less noticeable when it's not like a straight line if I just want to just fussy cut it. So once I knew exactly where I wanted to put it, I'm just going to be playing with the placement right there, and I'm going to remove some of those blue edges because I wanted everything to be nice and rounded, and so it will look very natural on that circle. So once I remove the excess little pieces of white also the napkin had, adding again a little bit of water on the edges using a small paintbrush, I'm going to add that paper or that napkin right there to the edge of my cotton board. Then I'm just going to take this parchment paper and I'm going to place it on top of the napkin, making sure that it's exactly in the position that I desire it to be attached to this. So there I'm making sure that everything is symmetrical, that everything folds exactly where I want it. I'm just going to place that and hold it in place to make sure it doesn't move. And then I'm coming in with my heat press and pressing that down. And what this does is that it activates that Mod Podge that I added to that circle prior to, and it fuses everything together. But here, since I had Mod Podge in the entire surface, my parchment paper attached to that surface. I wasn't happy about that, but hey, what are you gonna do? So here I'm just using a emery board to remove that excess paper on the edges to make it look more complete or more symmetrical, or, you know, like it belongs there, pretty much is what I mean to say. And then I'm just going to use a little bit more of that water with the paintbrush and remove a different portion of the napkin. And then here, there was some areas in which the paper was a little bit more noticeable than I wanted. So what I'm doing is using another, you know, again, taking the wet brush and trying to clean up those areas. So I have, you know, the best seamless transition between the surface of the cotton board and the napkin. So here I'm just going to I'm going to detach the second portion or the second paper of the napkin. And here I'm just want to make sure that that edge, it tore up a little bit. So I'm making sure that it fits correctly. And then once I placed everything down where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did with the previous piece. And I'm just going to go ahead and iron it as best as I can, trying to remove all those there's like little bumps that the napkin also has on the edges. So I'm making sure to smooth those out as well. And then I'm taking, once again, my emery board and carefully sanding off the edges of the napkin to reveal a nice clean edge. And this is turning out so cute so far. So now we need to embellish this a little bit. So I'm coming in with some more paint in a small brush, white paint, and touching off any areas in which the Mod Podge lift up and left like discoloration. So I'm just making sure that's nice and clean. And once that dried, I went ahead and covered the entire surface with Mod Podge once again to go ahead and protect that napkin. Now here you can see how I'm adding some greeneries, these little ends and pieces that I had from other DIYs, and then I made a little bow and attached it right there where they all united. But I'm not done yet. It looks cute, but I'm not done yet. I need a little bit more. So I decided to take some of that jute cord that came with the cotton board and went to add a combination of 2 green beads and 1 yellow bead just to give it a little accent at the top. And I knotted the jute cord in one little loop at the top and then threaded the rest of the beads and then left the other piece of the end there undone, and we're going to tie it right back into the hole where it was before. Once I did a double knot, I'm going to tuck that end right into the beads above it to go ahead and have a nice clean ending thing. And I'm still not done yet. I thought there was a little bland, so I was like, oh, let's see what we're gonna do. I don't know. So I decided to take some of this blue chalk paint and add it to the edges. And it's turning out so cute, but I'm still not done. I'm going to take this home sign that I got from Dollar Tree and I'm going to glue it to the center using some hot glue. And that's all she wrote. Let me know what you think of this one. I'm going to use this sign from the Dollar Tree. This came brand new. I just got it this month. And I'm going to just go ahead and give this 2 coats of my paint and primer from Black & Decker. And here's what it's looking so far. I didn't want to make it too much of a thick coat because I'm going to be using those indentations that are on the board to guide me to go ahead and use my folk art black paint and paint in all those words. It says Farm Fresh Flowers. And first I went with the, I think it's called Rich Black from Folk Art. I did that with a small paintbrush. I wanted this to be, you know, standing out a little bit more than the regular stuff. And I just took my time. This is pretty sped up. So if you do this, guys, have some patience. And if you enjoy painting, you will have an amazing time with this. Friends, in a lot of places, summer is pretty much here. Do you have any plans for the summer? And if you're in any of those places that are seeing so many issues right now with the tornadoes and the flooding and all of these things, know that my prayers are with you. And I hope that God, you know, brings you through this as He usually does for all of us, better than you started. And my prayers are with you. Hang in there. And I am so sorry you have to go through that. All right, guys, back to the project. I took the same rich black from Folk Art Paint and I'm going to completely do the entire frame. Here I just did 1 coat. This paint is so good, guys, that all you need is 1 coat. That's how great the coverage is. For the smaller letters on this piece, I'm going to use this micro tip pen from the Dollar Tree. It's like a paint pen. And it was pretty good, actually. It was, you know, it was easy for me to get into those small places. This over here, there was some parts in which I couldn't see exactly where the letter indentations were because the paint kind of covers some of it. And I just took my time, just, you know, going into it, trying to figure out the best thing. And this paint pen, guys, all I needed to do was 1 coat. It had pretty good coverage and it also had no bleed through, so it was pretty good. And even here, you see how small those letters are, and same thing. It really it was amazing. I really enjoy using it, and I will definitely recommend that you get these from the Dollar Tree. They are amazing. I will just say to just, you know, find the angle in which you can see those little lines the best. That's, you know, when I got the groove of that, that's when things, you know, moved a little bit quicker for me. And just have lots of patience because this was not easy. It took a little bit of time, but look how cool it came out. Here, I'm just doing the same thing. Those indentations that were there, I'm just going over with the same pen, just creating that extra interest, and I love how it came out. Look at that. But you're not ready, okay? You're not ready. I'm not done yet. I'm going to come in with some of that white paint that I used for it and just touch up the sides just to make sure that everything is nice and clean. I was debating within going within black or white. I decided on the white. I like all the contrast of the two colors on the edge. Look right there. I just couldn't leave the back looking all messy, so I just went over it, gave it a nice coat of paint, but not two, just one coat, just to make it nice and neat. And this is how I ended up doing it. And now we're gonna come in and embellish this a little bit. So I'm going to take some of these boxwood pieces from the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna cut 2 small pieces off, and I'm going to create a little swatch in the middle there. You'll see in a second. I'm just going to place them in this way like that, create a little archway. This comes with an indentation where you can actually paint it in, but I want this to be 3D, so I just added some hot glue right there with both of the little sprigs joined, and I just held them in place until it dried. I didn't want this to come off, so I just held it right there. Once the glue dried up, I'm just going to go ahead and place a little flower on it. So I'm going to use one of these flowers from the Dollar Tree that I used for the previous DIY, and I'm going to just go ahead and cut it at the very bottom of the stem, and we're just going to glue it onto the middle right there. And I'm not done yet. I'm going to create a cute little hanger for this sign as well. I'm going to use some of these black and white beads that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be creating a pattern of 2 black beads, then 1 white bead, and then 2 black beads, and then 1 white bead, and then 2 black beads, and then 1 white bead. You guys get what I mean. And I can't remember, I think I did 3 sets or something like that. Once I was done with the pattern, I didn't put the beads on the entire, length of the jute cord. I didn't really want that look for this. So I just going to go ahead and put some hot glue on the end of the jute cord, and I'm going to feed it through the holes through the back of the sign instead. And then I'm going to create a knot that is big enough to stay in place so the cord does not go through to the other side. And I did that to both sides of this piece. Once I cut the extra on the knot there, I added a little bit of hot glue onto the knot in order to avoid any unraveling later on. And like in matte, what I did to one side, I did to the other. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to take up some of that buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create 2 bows for this piece as well. And these bows are gonna go exactly where the little nut for the hanger is, just to cover it right up and give this some beautiful, beautiful embellishment. And that was the perfect finishing touch. Look at it. It's so beautiful. I love this piece, guys. Let me know what you think and which one is your favorite. For the next inspiration today, we're going to be using these two vases from Dollar Tree. The first thing that I did was remove the tag off of both of the bottoms. Then I'm going to take some E6000 and add it to the bottom of one of the vases. And we are going to add some hot glue on the edges just to have that immediate hold. The E6000 is going to be the main adhesive here that's going to give this longevity. Then I'm going to take some Mod Podge Multi and I'm going to add it to one of my daubers and add it to the bottom base. Once that dried, I'm going to take this concoction of paint that I got mixed in some aged gray with some navy blue to give me this beautiful muted blue color. Now that the paint is nice and dry, I'm going to take this dog leash, which is another one of our challenge items, and we are going to go ahead and remove it from the packaging and cut a section off of it. But before going any further, I wanted to protect the paint by adding some Mod Podge Multi. Once it all dried, I'm going to take that piece of dog leash. I'm going to remove this section right here that had the stitching on it and burn off the edges to avoid any unraveling. Now I'm going to glue it right here to the middle where both the vases unite. To do this, I just use some hot glue, but you're more than welcome to use some E6000 or another more permanent adhesive so you have more durability. My friend, if you're still with me this far into the video, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for sticking around. Leave me an emoji if you want a little sun or simply a smiley face so I know who you are. Thank you so much. All right, so here I'm adding the leftover sand that I had from the previous DIY to the bottom of this. I'm just cupping it in place as you see right there so it wouldn't go to my table and it will all fall inside of the vase. I'm just going to sift it around, you see right there, just to try to make it nice and flat. And then I'm going to add some of these gems as well to it. Next, I took one of these candles from Dollar Tree. You have many options here. You can add some water to this and use one of the floating candles from Dollar Tree. You can add one of these little votive candles as well from Dollar Tree, as you see right here. Or you can do the other option and use one of the emergency candles as well from Dollar Tree that you will see in the final reveal. You have here so many options, guys. So I hope you enjoy this one. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.